Good evening, all. Thank you for joining us today at the Health Show. With sincere apologies for not being around for the past 2 weeks. We have actually been busy trying to set one of the things right in the channel. All right, nonetheless, we're with you today. We have a very interesting and kind of controversial topic. Um, we would like to discuss around today. That is um consumptive native doctors. Now, we know that there are several perspectives to this topic because we
You're
we
not very
find some
audible. I
different.
don't know if you can speak more audibly.
Is it better now?
Yeah, it is better now.
Okay. So we understand that some persons are flexible in their, what do you call it, in consulting information for their health. So we want to discuss around the topic today to see the different perspectives around. Is it legal? Is it illegal? What are the advantages, disadvantages, and do people actually do it? Let's see if we have any examples, one or two. And I think for this show, we have pharmacist Hope with us, and we also have Mrs. Choma with us to discuss this topic. So I don't think Hope is around currently, but let's hear from you, Choma, before Dr. Hope comes around. Um, what What is native? Who is a native doctor? By the way, Chama, who is a native doctor? What is the idea of being a native doctor, especially in Nigeria? Or you can streamline it to your location. Let us just hear what you have to say, Chama.
All right. For me to define who a native doctor is depends on the definition of a native doctor in Nigeria changes from location to location depending on what you are trying to achieve. Now, if you are trying to relate it to health wise, that um, it means people that do treatment using local
Okay,
herbs.
can you hear me? Can you hear me, Chama?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, is it loud enough?
Yeah, it's okay.
All right, continue.
All right, for people that do treatment using herbs and just local means of healing, so they get herbs together, either boil it or just traditional processed herbs for healing of any sort. But there's still the other type that I'm not going to talk about now.
Okay, you're not going to talk about it now. Okay, no problem. So, Dr. Hope, I think I can have you. I can see you online right now. Is it legal to consult a native doctor in the country in Nigeria? Is it legal? Is it legal? Thank you.
Okay, first of all, good evening to my lovely viewers and listeners. Thank you all for staying tuned with us at the Health Show. And thank you for being consistent. For those who have been following us, I can see some familiar names behind the stage. Thank you very much. The topic of discourse today is consulting a native doctor. How legal is it? To what extent? Well, I can't give an answer yet for sure. I think the answer will be both a yes and a no. Yes, in the sense that I think it's very important we
Yeah.
consider first certain things. Who is a native doctor? I think before we could delve into whether legal or not, let's define certain things. What is native? When we say something is native, what does it mean? It means it is indigenous to a particular place and it is something that that particular set of people they believe in and they uphold to a very high extent and in a very high extent. Now, who is a doctor? A doctor is someone who has been certified to be very qualified in the aspect of medicine, and these qualifications could come in different patterns. Generally, doctor it could be in form of by qualification or by certification. We see today that by certification, some people haven't studied and attained the level of PhD. Doctors are usually added to their name. In Nigeria today, we have different forms of doctors, even in the healthcare sector. The physicians, they are referred to as doctors, medical doctors precisely, and physicians. the pharmacists, those who have undergone a compulsory training program in accredited schools of pharmacy that offer the PharmD program, doctor of pharmacy, they also refer to as doctor. For example, that is where myself and Dr. Ezekiel fall under. Then there are also other persons, the optometrists, they also referred to as doctor of optometry. So each person has their specialty and they all know to which boundaries they act. So we try to act within our boundaries and context. Now, moving on to the traditional settings of doctors, like I said, by certification or qualification, these persons are certified as doctor because either by learning or by qualification, either by handing over from their grandfathers, their great grandfathers, or from other persons who have studied these things over time. By studying doesn't mean they will go to a particular school, but by experience and beliefs and trials and errors, they could have gotten certain level of qualifications which they pass over to pass hand down to these persons, and that will certify them as doctors. So combining both native and doctor, it therefore means that for one to be certified as a native doctor or to be referred to as a native doctor, such a person would have attained a very high level of qualification in experience, practice, and in carrying out certain operations that will relate to, as it relates to traditional medicine, which will make people trust that person. Even though today in Nigeria there are other definitions of the definition of native doctors have changed, because now we now see some other practices that were known as it is when our grandfathers and other people that practice these things, yes, called that name. That is why I said I cannot give a specific answer. For the former, which I explained, legality, yes, they are allowed, because even in school, I remember when we were in 300 level, we were taking through a course on traditional and ethno medicine. It was a compulsory course you have to pass under pharmacognosy. I remember the course code because it dealt with me. It was pharmacognosy PCG 312. I remember how awkward it was for me to be studying incantations, studying herbs and others. I really felt pissed off. Like, what the hell is this? What does this have to do with my degree? Practicing in the hospital or in the community pharmacy? How will I carry on? I'm a rep. I'll not go and be advertising and go and all those things. But later on, it made sense to me because I was made to understand that pharmacognosy is the mother of pharmacy, in the sense that all drugs they are gotten from plants, and then if you don't know the origin, the source, and how these things work, you will not be able to understand their pharmacology and how they operate. So, and it made more sense. So, by virtue of studying that course, before then, I think I had a reservation about it. But after studying that course and after passing it very well, I think I can now say that it is legal for them to practice as far as they are within their context of practice. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Hope. Yeah, you have mentioned a lot of points, and I'll try to see how I can break it down and then ask questions around it. Now, first of all, native doctors, as the name goes, or rather, let me just ask: is there a difference between a native doctor and a herbalist? Which I believe there are differences, but I also feel that native doctors, as the name goes, they actually influence or practice some other what do you call it, metaphysical approach to the administration of drugs, or to the administration of
Finally,
herbs. So what do you say?
about this your cake, I will tell someone I know it's in there.
So what do you say, Dr. Hope?
All right, good evening
Hello, Doctor.
once again.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, okay. So as I was saying, the context which you mentioned to, sorry for that. I think I'm having a bit of network glitch. So as I was saying, the context with which you mentioned, whether there's a difference between herbalist and a native doctor.
A native
Yes,
doctor, yeah.
there is a very thin line between the both of them actually, even though some may argue that they are the same thing. Like I said, if it was within the former context which I mentioned, I think we'll be right by saying they are the same thing. But now things have evolved. When you say you are going to see a native doctor in 1990, for example, it will be very, very understanding that you are going to see a herbalist, because that is what they were trained for and that is what they practice. But in 2023, if I tell you, Dr. Ezekiel, that I'm going to see a native doctor, you will look at me in a particular way because the context have changed. First of all, people's beliefs and
Yeah.
people's confidence have begun to drop on them because of the recent things that have been and with the involvement of orthodox medicine, which we all switched to recently. And another thing is because of the other practices, which at this point I think I should start mentioning. Recently, there is a trend from the lockdown of 2020. Remember what caused the ONSAS protest and everything? It was because of some form of
Yeah. Yeah.
practices that were leading to social and cyber crimes, whereby people became uncomfortable that some set of persons known as SARS were harassing them. And in another context, if you check, some persons were even arguing that these persons have gone an extra mile, not just in quotes Yahoo anymore. It's now Yahoo Plus, in the sense that some of them have to go and
Yeah.
meet people who are ritualists to help them perform certain rituals so that they will get richer and they will get more clients. Now, in this context, I think it is now right for us to make three comparisons, no longer two. Native doctor, herbalist, and ritualist. Is there a difference? Yes. Now, a
Okay.
native doctor
Okay.
in
Yes. I
natural
believe.
sense,
I believe. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Continue.
yeah, a
Continue.
native doctor in natural sense supposed to be one, like I said, who has been trained properly, has the right experience, has practice, and over time has evolved in practice of traditional medicine. This person has brought herbs from the bush. This person knows the wherewithal, he knows the origin, and he knows what to do and what to mix and the right things to do, and people will get well. In pharmacognosy, they taught us that in some processes, these persons usually apply incantations, which is correct because some of them believe that these things were handed to them by their ancestors, and so they have to invoke
Yeah.
or call their ancestors before these things will work. Correct, and they are still within their confines of practice. But then where problem arises is when some extra things begin to come in, when bloodshed begins to come in or human parts are begin to be involved. In some parts of Nigeria, which I'm aware, in fact, I think a part of Edo State, I read some persons were arrested for trafficking people and for selling human parts. And when they were accosted and taken into custody, they actually trace them back to some native doctors in quotes. That's why I said you see where the problem is coming from. They refer to these people as native doctors, in quote, Baba. That's the name they usually call them. That these persons
Okay.
require them to
Okay.
bring certain parts. So in this case, you cannot call these same people herbalists. So I think the proper term, like you rightly said, herbalist or traditional what was it called? There's a name they call them traditional medicine.
Medic
Uh,
practitioners.
yes, exactly, TMP. So that's the
So,
correct name. Thank you.
yes, let us give room for Choma to add a bit. Now, I have a question for you. Do you think, Choma, this question is for you. Do you think the effect of these native doctors on practice generally, on sorry, not practice, on the health of individuals, do you think they have any impact? Many times they are consulted for them to cure them of any severe illness. Do you think those consultations, do you think it has any impact on their health? Or do you think they work it at all? Do you think they have any potency that they work?
Okay, yes. I feel there's a level of potency to their type of treatment because when there are some people that I know I've had conversations with in time past that seem to believe that when how do I say it now, when the regular medicine doesn't work and then they go herbal, it works, and that's their story. Meanwhile, there are others that after trying this herbal type of treatment, they don't get results. They have to resort to modern medicine and modern treatments. They're still that's why I feel there's a level of potency to their methods, even though I will not recommend it.
Okay, okay, thank you very much. Now there's a comment here that says, I know from Hope, I think you can read this. It says, looking at the history of pharmacology, it started from witchcraft. I believe native doctor refers to a witch doctor and not a herbalist. Is there a difference? So this person is claiming that pharmacology, that is the discussion of how a drug works, began through witchcraft. Dr. Hope, what do you say about this? Does it does it correlate with your belief, and does it help you understand pharmacology better?
Well,
This
I'll
statement.
beg to differ big time. Except, of course,
Okay.
the pharmacology I did was different. Yes, there's some level of involved in pharmacology, but I wouldn't say it started from witchcraft. We all know as pharmacists that one thing we are told on the history of pharmacology was that it was discovered by accident. Some drugs were discovered by accident. For example, penicillins and all that. They were discovered by accident. Doesn't mean that that accident was witchcraft. Also doesn't mean that it was miracles. I know somebody will be quick to come and be religious and say, hey, don't you think it was miracle or divine intervention? I think the right thing was accident, not witchcraft. By accident means say a particular scientist was there in the lab playing with certain things in order to find out certain things. You know, science is evidence based. They are based on theories and evidences. So there is nothing like witchcraft in it. If we are to go by witchcraft, then we say the discovery of everything we have today is based on witchcraft. We have electric bulb, which was invented by someone, James Watt. Can we say it is witchcraft? No. We have a lot of inventories that were brought in by good and well-meaning citizens. Can we call those things witchcraft? Cars, we could have for sure said they are witchcraft. It is not witchcraft. I think the right thing is that what we were taught was that all drugs are poisons. It is just the dose in determining the dose that makes differentiates the drug from a poison. I think that in itself is not witchcraft. I think what we can rightly place as witchcraft is what I have said as the latter, which is the fact that some persons want to use it to their selfish benefit. There are
Oh,
herbalists that actually do fetish things too. I won't deny that. It is actually on another side we have to talk about. I know herbalists that when they give you some concussions, they tell you to put it in people's food and other things, and they will die. It is also the person is an herbalist, quite alright, but then the person is now going out of context. That is why I said initially that I cannot give a yes or a no. If it is within the confines of practice, it is ethical and it
okay.
is moral. The person is using it for moral justification, then it is legal.
Okay. All right, thank you. Now back to the basic question for as the reason for this topic in the first place. Now, when practicing, and you meet a client or a patient who has consulted a witch doctor, a native doctor, or a herbalist, whatever it is, and he speaks to you about what they have tried initially and it has not worked. What will be your advice to patient in general? Do they continue consulting people like that, or do they resort to modern medical approach? Dr. Hope, what will be your advice?
Okay, I think this question, I'm happy it came because I'm very sorry to say it has affected me personally. Like, it is a very dear, I'm very happy this topic is coming because it is one that is very dear to me. I have lost someone, most of us here may know. I have lost a younger brother because of this. I think in my final year, while I was preparing for my exams, just shortly before my induction, I lost one of my youngest brothers to cancer. And I'm going to use this as a basis to make us understand the topic of discussion. Now, I didn't lose this brother because probably I didn't know what to do or I was confused. I think it was due to carelessness. Now, this is what happened. Sometime at the beginning of 2020 lockdown, he started complaining of a lower limb pain that was affecting him whenever he goes to school and makes him not to walk very well. I was away from home. The simple thing I could have done was, which I did actually anyway, take him to the hospital. But you know, sometimes when someone is closer to the village, there comes a time people want to get into your head as a mother or as relatives that all this thing, no,
Yeah.
this person, Papa Chukuma, they do am. I just go there, you go do am, you go miss one or two for you. It happens, it is real. And me, I've been a victim. I'm telling us now, real life story. It's not they said or they told me. Now, this people kept coming and convincing my people that take him to this place. And after some persuading, they didn't tell me. They took him to a herbalist, and he was being treated in quotes there. While all this while, I thought he was in the hospital. In fact, when I would call,
Wow.
they would tell me yes, he's getting better. So in my mind, I was relaxed that yes, there was my brother getting very good care, health care in his facility. You get.
How
So
are you?
Yeah.
finally, I got to know around somewhere around July or August. That was like 6 months down the lane. The cancer was already spreading. They just thought it was a normal leg pain, so it was something a herbalist could handle. Not knowing it was cancer, it was spreading. Now, it's somewhere around August. They now told me, the leg is swelling. In fact, I even affected the other side. It has gone far and all that. And this one now, I just said, but I thought this guy was taken to the hospital, and people told me he was getting better. That was when things started unveiling. That, no, and they told us there's one man in so place that he's specialized in it. So we took him to the place. Now the problem was not that the native doctor didn't do probably what he was supposed to do, and that is what will bring me to the first point. One of the things that people suffer in the hands of herbalists is misdiagnosis.
Yeah,
And when
that
you
is true.
miss a diagnosis as health professional, when you miss a diagnosis, every other thing goes wrong. Because most
That's
times
true.
things become complicated, and in a bit to cover the complication, you now get more things that will complicate the person's health. That was what happened in the case of my brother. They thought it was probably, in fact, how do you imagine saying that a boy of 16 years old has arthritis? That it was probably arthritis, and they started managing traditionally for arthritis. And after managing and managing, it got worse, got swollen, and in fact started generating a sore, a kind of open wound and all that. That's when they now say, it's like it's not arthritis. So in fact, at some point I started hearing some funny and annoying things like, and there's bad blood in his leg. We have to remove the bad blood so that good one will flow. If not, it will damage him. He will not be able to walk. Funny stuff like that. As funny as it sounds, that's how finally I insisted if I had to come back home, and it was moved to UBTH. On getting to UBTH, that is when they diagnosed that he had cancer. It was already proceeding to stage 2. It was very
Wow. Wow. That's quite a sad story, Dr. Hope.
unfortunate
And
because after proper diagnosis, which was done properly. That's when they now noticed that it was cancer, and the doctor himself to cut off that particular leg. As painful as it sounded, we were willing to go ahead with it. But for some reasons, the doctor himself was slow and kept delaying and all that and all that. The long and short of everything is that somewhere around 2021, just a week before my induction, we lost him to the cold hands of death. It was painful. Now, in this thing, I don't want to be emotional or anything like that because it is something that we see often, even during my internship days. I remember I worked in here mostly, so I see death every day. So I think I was one of the persons it pains because, first of all, this is my field. Come on, how can I be this helpless when I could help other people? In my own case, I was this helpless. But then after beating myself for a while and blaming myself for over a whole month for everything, I discovered that the whole thing wasn't really my problem. The thing was one, too much trust and confidence, and then misdiagnosis. So that's one of the problems that we have in this case. The problem is misdiagnosis. These people, like I said, they do these things based on experience, and some of these experiences are trials and errors. If, for example, you come today, I try Ugu leaf on you, it doesn't work. Then I try bitter leaf, it works. I'll be okay, bitter leaf is the way. And most of this, another thing is that apart from the misdiagnosis, most of these things are not refined. They are not refined products. I think one of the fights
yeah,
that PCN and other bodies have been trying to have with them is that, okay, if you want to sell this your product, just get it refined, processed, follow the right procedure, and bring it to NAFDAC to approve. Then we can allow you go into the market. But oftentimes you don't see them. That's why you see that they don't come out very open. Most of them are in small villages and hamlets doing their thing. And the kind of trust that people put in them, if I don't know if any of us have had encounter trying to convince someone in the village to go to a hospital. It is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than to convince your grandmother that is in the
that's
village
true.
to go to the
That's
hospital
true.
to see a doctor. They can never, as far as they've had one
I think
encounter with a traditional
Dr. Hope, sorry to
person.
interrupt you, but
So
I think
that's one of the
it's
problems
also
we have
because
usually
of their
with it. I've
positive
mentioned
experience.
misdiagnosis. I've mentioned overconfidence that makes them believe that yes, they know what they are doing, even when they are not getting. And three is
Okay.
the area of
Okay. Thank you.
like they don't have the claims that they claim to put in most of all these things, they cannot be like ascertained
Proven.
scientifically. They don't have
Yeah.
any proof that this thing is really okay. This thing that you say it is this,
All
it
right,
can really
Dr.
be
Hope.
this.
Thank you
And
very
it's
much. Thank you
you
very much.
cannot trace it
Thank
back
you
to any
very much.
scientific claims. That's just
Uh, so, thank you very much, Dr. Hope. I appreciate
hello.
you. Thank you for sharing your experience with us. Um, Shoma, I think you wanted to say something.
Hello.
I heard. I was trying to hear you say something. Can you hear me, Shoma?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think
Okay.
I once spoke to someone about treatment for cancer, and he was so sure that what we call cancer today has always been in existence. But it's just that our ancestors and the older people have been able to manage it. They've been able to manage
Hello.
it in their time because he said in his own time, because he was quite older, he said, or what we call breast cancer today. There was a time when women complain about having issues with their breast, and then they go to these native doctors, and then they get certain leaves, squeeze it together, apply it on the affected breast. Then after like 3 days, you see pus coming out of the breast, and that will be all about whatever issue they complained about. So you can't convince someone that knows that and have seen this thing happen over and over again that there is no cure for cancer. Do you understand me? It will be
Yeah, I
somehow for
understand.
that person. It will look like you are living where the solution is. To go and learn from so-called professionals that there is no solution to a particular thing that they know they have cured over and over again. No, I understand when you talk about misdiagnosis because I know when you tell maybe someone's leg is swelling, you start hearing comments like "it match poison." They do all those kind of comments you get. And for these people, they have what they apply. When they apply it, you see that the affected leg starts going down. So I still understand that part because when they've seen, because for them, if you hear those people talk, they will also recount experiences of people that have spent time in hospitals with no results, only for them to bring them to the village and then they start recovering. So it's both ways.
Okay, okay. I think I understand your point now, Choma, and also understand your point, Dr. Hope. But before I ask a final question, let us have a look at a few comments from those that have been listening. So, ISOSA again is saying a native doctor responsible for misdiagnosis error. The patient that what legal provisions are in place for prosecution because now the native doctors cannot be arrested. I think native doctors can be arrested. They are well liable before the law. So any native doctor that has done or that has misdiagnosed or has done something bad can be rearrested. Can be arrested. Remember the popular Okija shrine? I think it was raided. Was it during Obasanjo regime? President Obasanjo. It was raided and was arrested. I think there are other cases of popular native doctors who have been arrested following any nefarious activities. So for those listening, if you have any relative who has been misdiagnosed or you smell any foul play from maybe after consulting a herbalist or maybe a village traditional medicine practitioner, you can actually seek redress in the court of law. All right, that's that for that. Then the same ISOSA say, can the gods be charged to court? I think I will allow Dr. Hope to answer that. Dr. Hope, can the gods be charged to court? Can they be
Sometimes
charged to court?
I just let the poor breathe. Just suffocate them. I think let the gods breathe. The truth is that, like what we've been saying, we've been able to draw out three distinct things. There are native doctors, there are herbalists,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
there are ritualists. So it
yeah.
depends on which one you consulted. Some of these people do the three. They are three in one. I can assure you. There are
Yes.
people you go to, they'll tell you which one do you want to do? Is it Yahoo Plus? Is it the one that will match and die? I hope you know some of these people do this match and die that Mrs. Choma talked about. They are the ones you go to,
Yes.
they'll tell you, okay, my own is strictly I heal people, I do this. So it depends on what you were looking for and who you went to. So for me, I would say make your inquiries very well before going. It's I hope you know it's not all cases. I am happy that Dr. Ezekiel said go and seek redress, but I want to make us understand that it's not all cases that you will that you can get justice for. It's just in a case of, for example, someone scams you. Who do how do you okay, let me give a very vivid example. Sorry, I have to use this analogy. Recently, some of my colleagues were going for NYSC, and I know one of my best friends that was scammed 120K. What was he trying to do that he was scammed? He was trying to redeploy from one state that he was posted, Ogun State, to another state, Lagos. And in the process, someone saw how desperate he was, took advantage of it, and ate his 120K. Now, I want to ask, be sincere, can you really sue this kind of person to court that hates that money?
How do you
On what
sue him?
ground?
You can't sue him
Because
now.
you wanted
You
to
can't
do
sue him.
illegal thing. So at the end, you might even go to court, now you they go arrest. So that's the
Yes, no,
problem.
that's true.
So because this thing was not done in a straightforward manner, like I said, remember I said these people were not trained like not all of them are trained. Some of them just
Yeah, that's true.
their father died, they inherit it. They say, okay, you are the next in line. Come and take over. You are the Odumo, do the second. So you take over like that and you start doing things in any way you like. If something happens because of the belief and confidence. In fact, it's even the villagers that will come and make you a liar. They say, it don't fair do for me, walk oh, like Mr. Choma said. Say, see my picking level first when I ain't do am oh, your conduct. You don't have anything to hold on to. Did you people sign an agreement? Like one thing I love about the hospital is that when you get there, before any surgery, anything is done. Thank God, Dr. Ezekiel can attest to me. The wife put to bed some time ago. Before anything happens, they tell you to pen down your signature. Do you think they are being stupid for doing that? They are doing it so that
That's
they know you will sue them when he read. They know. You think they don't know. Every hospital is smart. They know you have a tendency, you are well within your right, but they have you to sign so that if he read, they'll say he's a bros. And you know what worsens things in court is when they bring paper evidence. Say sorry, oh, sir. This signature, it looks like your own. Oh. Once you can confirm it's yours, it's finished. You don't have a case. So in this case, you did not sign anything with this person. You went to him with your two leg. You were not under any coercion. You were not under any influence. You were not under any manipulation. You use your two leg, waka your two left leg, waka go meet am, tell am say you wan do something, and you did it. It did not work. It's a case of trial and error. You can't hold them
yeah,
responsible.
yeah, that's true.
So that's the
That's true.
thing.
So thank you very much. Thank you for that response. So Isis, I hope you got your answer. I think one of the other comments we address is good show having the pictures of those speaking at least will make it more professional. So okay, currently we actually just do audio based live stream. We want everyone to be able to listen to it while they are busy doing any other activity that they like. But I guess we'll look into this as a team and see if we can show our faces a few times. All right, now to my final question. My final question to the guest present. Um, I'll ask Choma first. Choma, you mentioned that there are chances or there are cases where um, these herbalists actually have um, priority, not priority, potency over modern day medicine. People tend to attest to their effects even after so-called failure of traditional or modern medicine. So, would you advise? Would you advise if you find anyone that is having any difficulty that has tried any modern medicine? Would you advise them to resort to any herbal medicine? This is not native doctor. This is not ritualist. Would you advise for herbal remedies?
This question is very tricky. Okay, but what I would advise is for cases that I know that have been
Okay.
properly diagnosed, and
Okay.
then if you feel that you're not getting results from the hospital, and especially cases where you know or I know I can vouch for a native doctor, maybe from my own personal experience or someone around me, for a another case similar to yours, that's after the diagnosis. I would want to recommend, but it will not be my first point of call.
Okay, it's not be your first point of call. Now, sometimes, Choma, these herbal medicines are usually very, very, very easy to obtain. They are sometimes cheaper, and they are sometimes very appealing because of the many, many promises that comes with it. Sometimes they tell you just use this leaf, use it morning and evening for 3 days, and then you are done. Unlike have modern medicine where you have to swallow a lot of pills. So we hope that
No, I don't think that's the
our
case. So
viewers.
I feel the herbal medicines are even more difficult to get. Sometimes you find people going distance to get a particular leaf. It's not that easy. Modern medicines are even easier because all you need to do is just take pills. So people go across states to just get a particular because they say it's only going to be found in so and so state. So they have to travel to go and meet the person that they recommended them to meet. Or you see some. I heard somebody shipping guinea fowl eggs or something like that for a particular treatment from I've forgotten the state. So it's not that easy. I even think for them medicines are easy for than the concussions that those people have to prepare.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, Dr. Hope, last question goes to you. If you have a patient who is refusing, attested to the fact that all your drug interventions and your pharmaceutical interventions are not effective, and she wants to or he wants to resort to traditional medicine, what would be your advice for that patient, Dr. Hope?
Well, I think wisdom is profitable to direct everybody. I think the first thing you ask is, at what time did the person present? From the analogy I gave, the real life story I said about my brother, you can see that three things happen. Misdiagnosis, one, two, late presentation. I already knew from the point he was brought to the hospital, from my professional judgment, that it was a 50-50 case. I already knew from the onset that I would lose him at some point, but I just didn't expect that it to be that soon. The truth is that sometimes we lie to ourselves as human beings. You have something that has been disturbing you, you want to wait, explore. Some people see hospital as the last resort, the miracle center. In fact, some people go to church
Yeah,
first before they come to hospital. Is that bad? In Nigeria, we are too religious. We believe somebody will be sick. You say, by faith, I went to church. They told me I'm healed. I have seen patients even in the hospital where I work, and it's usually funny. You will look at their case notes. You'll be seeing chronic hypertension, known hypertensive patient, 5 years, and this person is keeping medicine, and you are like, Madam, I
so
noticed you are
Dr. Hope,
giving this drug.
do you say faith based medicines are not effective? Are you saying faith based
No,
medicine
no,
are not
no.
effective?
I'm not saying, but in the Bible, it was clearly stated that those who have needs should see a physician. Even Paul told Timothy that stop taking water, take a little wine for your sake. That was some herbal remedy. It was some sort of concussion that helps you get. But then it was medicine. Even in the Bible, it was clearly stated there were people, disciples, who were physicians. Luke, in case most of us don't know, Luke was a physician, he was a medical doctor. So if these people were there, that means there was need. Even while Jesus Christ was on earth, they were medical doctors. He was the all knowing and all seeing God. So it was for a reason. So if you are sick, you should know where to go to. It is the hospital. It should be your first point of call. It's just that in Nigeria, we don't do things well. In fact, nowadays, some of my friends that own community pharmacy, they always make a statement that they are scared to refer patients to the lab. Because once you tell them, I go and do malaria test, that's the end. You will not see that patient again. You don't bother. Because they'll say, this one knows how to work. Come on, malaria, why come and treat me? They tell me I go do test. I beg, come and go buy Amala, or go buy Swida, go buy Fancy that. That's what they believe. So some people see the hospital as a last resort, a miracle center. Faith works.
Okay.
But to your faith, please, hard work. Faith without work is dead. So whenever you are sick, you know it. You know your body physiology better than anybody. Go to the hospital. Go to the hospital. I hope we know there's a part we didn't even talk about. Most of all these abilities, they carry out surgery processes, and also they deliver people, they carry out birth deliveries
Yeah.
nowadays. This is another place we also have to
We'll
look
address,
into.
we'll,
These
yes,
things are
we'll
these,
analyze those ones subsequently. Yeah.
yes, because these are complicated things.
Okay, I think we lost Dr. Hope there. Um, thank you everyone for watching, for coming online for the health show this weekend. We hope to get back same time next week. We have a very interesting topic for us next week. We're going to be talking about conflict in the hospitals, doctors, and other health workers. We're going to be analyzing it and see the best way forward to address those conflicts and how we can ensure that those conflicts are reduced to zero at least, so that so that the health professionals can focus on providing health care for us instead of conflicting within themselves. Thank you very much for staying tuned for the show. If you are yet to subscribe for the channel, you should subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you can get notified when we are ready for you next week. See you and bye for now. Bye bye.